is Michael Roth. Mr. President, honourable members, Vice President of the Commission, ladies and gentlemen, it is a great honour for me to be here today to participate in this debate on such an important subject. It is a pleasure for me to explain to you what the main items on the agenda will be at the extraordinary summit of the Special European Council. In this time of crisis, it is important that the European Union should speak with one voice, join forces, and not allow itself to be divided. And that is precisely the priority of the German presidency. We want to make a substantive contribution to ensuring that the European Union's weight on the international stage can be strengthened, because we have a positive contribution to make. We all know that authoritarian regimes are growing, democracy is increasingly under threat, and it is therefore even more important for us to defend our model, which is based on human rights, justice, democracy, and this is why we will be focusing on precisely these subjects at the Special European Council. And we are dealing with difficult actors in this context. And I'm going to begin with one difficult actor, which is Turkey. The situation in the Eastern Mediterranean is extremely fragile for a number of reasons. The situation in the Middle East, the unresolved migration and refugee questions, and now Turkey. Turkey is not assuming the responsibility that it ought to resume in this region. It ought to be actively contributing to stability and peace, and is not doing so. Therefore, we need to send out a signal from our Special European Council that we show unconditional solidarity with Greece and with Cyprus. And the second important signal that the Council must send out is that we do not need further escalation. We need to contribute to de-escalation. There can be no military solution to this conflict. We have to find a political solution. We have to strive towards this. We want to make a substantive contribution to this by keeping all options on the table. And the heads of state and government, together with Josep Borrell, will discuss what should happen if Turkey does not rise to its responsibilities. And another key actor that we have already discussed at length is China. China is a particularly complex partner, because first of all, we see China as a partner. You cannot achieve sustainable climate protection if we don't have China on board. And of course, China is a competitor in economic and trade matters, and it is therefore in our interest to ensure that we have a rules-based relationship for cooperating in trade and economic matters. However, and this is what makes it particularly difficult, China is also a systemic rival. We have our social model. Our social model could not be imagined without human rights, without democracy, and without the rule of law. And therefore, we have to have a constructive and open exchange with China. And in the video conference yesterday, we did discuss issues of climate change, trade, the economy, but we also talked about human rights. Honourable members, Mr. President, I also want to turn your attention to some other matters that I want to raise with you, because they are also at the heart of our Special Council. We know that in March, because of the corona pandemic, important issues concerning climate protection, the single market, could not be discussed. They had to be postponed. We have just been discussing how important the next generation EU recovery plan is, not just for the crisis-hit countries, but for all of us, because we don't want to rebuild the old conventional structures. We want to contribute to an ecological transition in the EU with this next generation money, and that is also a subject that will be on the agenda of the heads of state and government. COVID-19 has hit the single market very hard. But it's not just a question of restoring the single market. We want to deepen it further with an ambitious industrial strategy, among other things. Because if we take climate change seriously, then we have to show that we must remain competitive, we must remain a front runner, and we have to encourage those to see that climate change protecting the climate can be compatible with having an industrial economy. We want to show that this can be reconciled. And another important question on the agenda of the summit will be the question of strategic autonomy. We want to strengthen our resilience. Of course, we don't want to stop free and fair trade, but there are certain products which are crucial for the health and safety of our citizens in Europe. And we have seen that we need capacity of our own. We need to strengthen our European supply chains for these crucial products, and that is also something that we will address at the summit. And please indulge me that I had to mention these questions also, because it's all about the role of Europe in the world. It's not just a question of how we act towards others on the international stage. It's a question of our own strength, and therefore climate protection, our social and economic transformation and ecological transformation are very important as well.
Zur eigenen Stärke gehört.
And of course, to have a strong policy, we need cohesion,